Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield myself this time as I may consume.
Gentleman's recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today in support of H.R. 3951 to designate the Uptown Post Office building located at 2000 Louisiana Avenue in New Orleans, Louisiana, in honor of Roy Rondeno Sr., a 34-year USPS letter carrier and military veteran who was the epitome of a loyal and beloved public servant and community member. In late September 2009, while working on his day off because the Postal Service was short-staffed, Mr. Rondeno was sorting through mail in the back of his truck when he was hit by a car. The vehicle flew through a stop sign and critically injured him. 6 days later, on October 2nd, 2009, he died from heart failure during surgery, a few weeks short of his plan to retire and spend time with his family and recently founded outreach ministry. Mr. Rondeno, a native of New Orleans, Louisiana, lived in Metairie and worked at the USPS Uptown Station in New Orleans. He was known as a dedicated, charismatic, and beloved letter carrier. Survivors include his wife, Shirley of Metairie, and sons Richard of Houston, Ryan of Los Angeles, and Roy Jr. of Metairie. Mr. Rondeno's accident and subsequent death came as a complete shock to those whom he loyally and lovingly served for and with during the past 37 years. The merchants and community members who Mr. Rondeno served established a donation fund in his honor and organized a block party to raise funds for his family. Shortly thereafter, the community members and Louisiana District of Postal employees asked that we dedicate this post office in his honor. According to the Times-Picayune, those who Mr. Rondeno served said they formed a close bond with Mr. Rondeno and described him as a happy man with a kind word for everyone and a dutiful postman who introduced himself to new residents, never delivered junk mail addressed to previous tenants, and would stand outside in pouring rain to deliver even the smallest package. As one constituent, Susan Hereford, expressed to the Times-Picayune regarding Mr. Rondeno's service and passion for those whom he served, to have that constancy with someone who doesn't just have his head down and drop mail in your box. He connected with everyone on his route, and they connected with him. To those whom he served, Mr. Rondeno was a great letter carrier, civil servant, New Orleanian, American, veteran, and friend. To those he leaves behind, he was a loyal and loving husband, father, brother, uncle, and friend. I am proud of his service to the Postal Service, the United States military, and the citizens of New Orleans, and proud to dedicate this post office in his honor. As another constituent, Mary Nass, said to the Times-Picayune, the outpouring of grief on the parts of hundreds of people following Royce's death should teach us that we do not need to know others intimately to positively impact their lives. Here was a kind, humble, and conscientious man who made each and every person whose path he crossed feel a little happier, a little more connected to the human race after his daily passing. No one could have left us a finer legacy. Mr. Rondeno was beloved by the community, his colleagues, and his wonderful family. And I can think of no greater way to honor him than to dedicate the Uptown Post Office located at 2000 Louisiana Avenue, New Orleans, Louisiana, in his name as a reminder for all who go there of the dedication and passion of this public servant. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman reserves. Gentleman from Massachusetts.
Mr. Speaker, we have no further speakers at this time, but we continue to reserve.
Gentleman from Louisiana.
Mr. Speaker, I urge all members to support the passage of H.R. 3951, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields back. Gentleman from Massachusetts.
Mr. Speaker, in closing, I again urge our colleagues to join Mr. Cao, the principal author of this bill, and all our colleagues in supporting House 3951, and I yield back the balance of our time.
Gentleman yields back. All time has expired. The question is, will the House suspend the rules and pass H.R. 3951? Those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, no. In the opinion of the Chair, two-thirds being in the affirmative, the rules
Mr.
are
Speaker, I
suspended.
urge the yeas and nays.
The yeas and nays are requested. All those in favor of taking this vote by the yeas and nays will rise and remain standing until counted. A sufficient number having arisen, the yeas and nays are ordered. Pursuant to Clause 8 of Rule 20 in the Chair's prior announcement, further proceedings on this motion will be postponed. For what purpose does the gentleman from Massachusetts rise?